Good morning, everyone. My name is Duduzile Kubega, and I'm your new life sciences teacher. I hope Lizelle really told you about this, and it's not a surprise. And I know it's probably going to take some adjusting to, but yeah, we are taking over together from here. I spoke to her, and she told me about the things that you guys like and how you prefer certain things. So yeah, I will try my very best with that. She also mentioned that this week we should be starting with the endocrine system. So, with the endocrine system, this follows the topic you did. You've been doing the nervous system, right? So now we are continuing with that. So, what is the endocrine system? Do you know? I like engagements in my class, so if we'll use the chat box quite a lot. So if you know the answer, feel free to type it in or communicate if I'm moving too fast. Yeah, you're welcome to do that at all times. So what exactly is the endocrine system? This is a system that is made up of glands that produce and secrete hormones directly into the blood. I'm sure you know all a lot about hormones, right? Because we always learn about them, especially when you're a teenager, they will tell you about hormones. So the endocrine system is made up of those glands. The glands are the ones that produce and secrete the hormones directly into the blood. So the hormones wouldn't be relevant if you did not have the glands. And then the role of the endocrine system is to control and coordinate the life processes in the body in response to changes in the internal and external environments in such a way that a constant internal environment is maintained. Because your body has to maintain a certain balance at all times. So the role of this endocrine system is to maintain that balance. So for example, typical examples, when you're feeling too hot, then your body will perform a certain balance to maintain the same balance in your body. So it will perform certain processes in your body to maintain that balance, regardless of the changes in the internal or external environment. So the example I just made is if you're suddenly feeling cold, what might be a result of you stepping outside in a cold day, then you're suddenly feeling cold. Or you were outside where it was cold, your body had maintained a certain balance outside in that cold. And then you step inside to a very hot place. Then now the body will need to establish a new balance. So those are typical examples. Another example as well would be when there are changes internally in your system, you know, then the body will perform those changes. So all the processes involved inside to maintain balance in your internal system, if any change occurs there, the endocrine system is then playing a role to maintain the balance there. So it will adapt and make necessary changes so that new order and balance is maintained. And that is what we refer to as homeostasis, where there's a constant internal environment is maintained, because that is necessary for your body. Your body needs to be constantly in a certain temperature. Your body needs to constantly be at a certain blood pressure, things like that. So that should always be maintained by the endocrine system, regardless of the forever changing environments, whether internally or externally. What else does it do? It also controls and coordinates the body's life processes, including growth and development, the chemical reactions in the body, which is the metabolism, the balance of water and salts in the body, which is osmoregulation and reproduction. So these are things you are familiar with, right? When we speak of growth and development, we know when we talk of, you spoke of those things when you did meiosis and mitosis, right? There's cell growth and there's development involved there. And then the chemical reactions in the body, when we speak of metabolism, so you'd often hear people say, hey, this one has a fast metabolism rate and this one has a slow metabolism rate. This is when the rate at which your food digests in your stomach quickly or in your system. Those are the types of chemical reactions we speak of. Then the balance of water and salts in your body. This has to do with the type of food you probably consume, right? Or the type of liquids that you consume. There needs to be a maintained water and salt balance in your body. If there's too much salt, there might be certain problems. Or if there's too much water sometimes, there might even be problems. So that is why we need a constant balance. So the whole point of the endocrine system is to maintain balance, and it does that through the glands that secrete and produce hormones, right? So it's actually the hormones who do the hard labor. The endocrine system controls that entire process. And then when we speak of the reproduction, have you done reproduction? Reproduction is when now, as you've mentioned, you've learned about it, right? It's the whole process of the reproduction system where the human body is reproducing a new human, or when you go through your menstrual cycle and all of that. That's the reproduction system. Are you okay so far? Should I move on to the next slide, or you're cool? I will move on, but if you want me to go back, please do let me know and I'll move back. We spoke of what? We said the endocrine system is made up of glands. Here we are learning about glands. A gland is a group of cells that is specialized to produce and secrete a special chemical substance, such as a specific hormone. So you know all about cells and how they may differentiate into different types. This one here is a group of cells which is called glands, and their particular purpose is to produce and secrete specific chemical substance. In the endocrine system, this specific chemical substance is called the hormone. There are two types of glands. Do you know them? Quickly tell me the two that you know. I think it should be easy enough. Just look at the name of the topic today. Oh, for those who didn't see, quickly give me the answers there in the chat box. Or you can raise your hand if you want. What are the two types of glands that we are dealing with here? Thank you very much, Bob. It's the endocrine and the exocrine glands. Can someone tell me how they differ? You are welcome to raise your hand for this, or you can type in the chat box. You can even get a clue from the name. How do these two differ? We've got the endocrine gland and the exocrine gland. How do these two differ? Bob, did you do this topic already, or you are just... Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. That's very good, and that's very advisable, you guys. It's better to always prepare, so at least you're not very new to the concepts that we bring in class, and you can contribute valuably to the lesson. So it's inside, and this screeness is secrete. So that gives you a clue. But as soon as you see endo, you would know that these are processes inside, because of the word endo. So these ones, they secrete the hormones they produce directly into the blood. They are also called ductless glands because they have no ducts, just like Bob has just told us. The endocrine ones, they secrete directly because they're inside anyway. They don't need to be transported, or they secrete directly to the blood. So that's why they wouldn't even need the duct to do the transporting for them. They do it themselves because they will do it directly to the blood. And that is where the hormones need to be secreted, right? In the blood. And then ducts. What exactly are ducts before we move on to the exo? Ducts are the tubes that connect one part of the body to another. Examples include the pituitary gland and thyroid gland. Okay, these are examples of what? Examples of the endocrine glands. the pituitary gland, and thyroid glands. These ones do not have ducts. These two do not have ducts. We have just explained that ducts are tubes. So whenever you see the word duct, you'd know it's tubes. And you've probably learned all about ducts as well in the previous topics, right? So yes, ducts are just tubes. Think of them as tubes that do the transporting. That is exactly it. But we know now what endocrine hormones they secrete the hormones they produce directly into the blood. It's very important that you understand the terminologies as well so that you'll be able to understand the whole topic that we discussed. So two things we know about endocrine glands. They secrete hormones they produce directly into the blood, and they're also called ductless glands because they have no duct. So you know two things already. Should you ever get this question, you have a whole 2 marks. And then exocrine. Exo is without, out. Keyword here being out. And you can think of the E as exit, right? So you can get a clue that this is happening outside. It's important that you create your own tips and notes when you study so that they will help you remember. Even if it means you turn the whole words into, what's this? You shorten them so that you understand better, or, give this one its own name so it helps you understand exactly what we're talking about. Exocrine glands secrete the chemical substances they produce into a duct, which carries them to the part of the body where they are needed. So the difference between the two is, the main difference is, the other one secretes into the blood directly, but this one here secretes into a duct, which is then the duct that will transport this hormone to the part of the body where it is needed. So this might have to do with the fact that where the gland is located, the position of the gland and the position of the part of the body where that particular hormone is needed are separated by a distance. But for the endocrine, they would usually control easier the systems that are not too far from them, or they have easier access to the blood. So those are the two differences we've noted. Endocrine secretes in the blood, exocrine secretes into the duct, and it's the duct that transports this hormone to the part of the body where it's needed. And then the endocrine has no ducts, whereas the exocrine has the ducts. Examples include digestive glands, salivary glands, and sweat glands. This one, you can look at these examples, they make sense. You look at the digestive glands. With the digestive system, all those organs and parts of the body involved in the digestive system are all a distance from each other, they're spread out in the body. That would make sense why those glands would need ducts to be able to carry this particular hormone. Salivary glands as well, and sweat glands. Sweat, you'd be sweating all over your body sometimes because, why is it not one place? So it means the glands would secrete and the hormone would travel to various parts of the body where the sweat would happen, would occur. Then we'll be speaking a lot about hormones. What are hormones? I have to mention that a bulk of this work is gotten from the Solutions for All textbook, as well as the Via Africa textbook. I accessed those books from the Snaplify app, and I'm sure they've told you about it. You get access to all textbooks right now for free up until December this year. So if there's any textbook you need, or the one you have isn't giving you enough information, you can use the Snaplify app. You sign up for free and you can download other textbooks that will help you understand the work even better. So please use those resources that you have at your disposal. Even when you go back to school, guys, use these resources. Now you know about them. Search all this information online. It will help you adjust and it will help you learn quicker and better. So always supplement your information. Now, we've been speaking about hormones quite a lot. the whole discussion has been about hormones. The whole point of the endocrine system is to produce the glands that will secrete these hormones. But what exactly are hormones? Let's define them. We only heard about them when they say teenagers have hormones, you know, when you say those things. But what exactly do we mean? Hormones are organic chemical messengers which are mostly protein. They are mostly protein and they're what? Organic chemical messengers. Messenger meaning they go to a certain part of the body to perform a specific function which it was sent to do. Who sent it? It's the glands that secrete them. They act on target organs to regulate them and cause responses. So when you send someone, when you send your little brother or your little sister to the shops, here you'd act as the gland, right? You are the gland, you are sending this hormone that is your little brother to go and buy milk from the shop. That is, your brother would be the hormone going to perform a specific function at the target audience organ, which is the shop right now. So that's how it works. What does it do in this target audience? It regulates them and causes responses. Their functions are, you must know the functions. At some point in your life or in your paper or anywhere, you might be asked about the functions of the hormones. So what are the functions of the hormones? They regulate secretions from endocrine or exocrine glands. They control growth and development of the body. They maintain homeostasis. They regulate metabolism and energy release. They react to unexpected external and internal stimuli, which these could be emergency responses as well, through signals communicated by sensory neurons. They control the process of reproduction. So we have about how many functions now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can definitely expect this question from me when we do the Kahoot on Friday. So other functions, we'll repeat them. They regulate secretions from endocrine or exocrine glands. They control the growth and development of the body. They maintain homeostasis. Oh, this one, it was supposed to be a bullet point here. Yeah, so it's actually 6. Maintain homeostasis. They regulate metabolism and energy release. They react to unexpected external and internal stimuli, which is in the emergency response situations. And through signals communicated by sensory neurons, they would also control the process of reproduction. So you know quite a lot of things about hormones right now. How can they act as well? 2 types that you need to know. They act synergistically, which means they act together to produce a common effect. That's what synergy means. It's like, what can I do? It's you alone, you'd probably, in an exam or in an assignment, let's make an example of an assignment. When you are assigned an assignment, you alone, thinking with your own brain on your own, would probably get about 80% or whatever you usually get. You know what you usually get. So you probably get about 80%. And then when you meet with someone else, and let's say you partner together in this assignment, you are bringing 2 powers together. And the product that will come out of the combination of you 2 is much greater than what would have come out of you individually. You understand what I'm trying to say? So it's promoting the power of collaboration, if I can say that. When they act together, they have a much greater impact or effect at the end of the day, as opposed to how of the product they would normally produce if they're acting on their own. Like the example I made of on an assignment. You do an assignment alone, you probably get 80%. But when you partner with someone else, You both bring different knowledge to this, and you both bring different contributions, and you might even get your 90% or your 100%. That's what it means. If you're alone, you produce a certain mark, but when you're together, you produce one which is much greater and one which would not be possible had you not partnered. So that's the typical example of synergy. So that's what we say, they act together. So energy always mean they come together. They act together to produce a common effect. And then antagonistically, this is when they act against each other. The effect of one cancels the effect of another. This one here is war. They really not even friends. They're working against each other, and then the one who wins conquers the other. How to remember these ones? The A here for antagonistically would remind you of the against. So think of it that way. A for against. So you know when you're dealing with antagonistically, you're dealing with hormones that act against each other. And synergistically, they are working together. They produce synergy. And then hormones may be over-secreted, that is hypersecretion, or under-secreted, that is hyposecretion, resulting in certain disorders. You learned, I think an example of this, which is similar, is something you may have learned when you did cell division. When you do cell division, you'd understand that cells are supposed to multiply in a certain way, probably to produce a certain organ. And then when it happens that there's an over secretion of cells, that might cause cancer. You learned about that, right? Cancer is the result of an over secretion of a type of cell. When then that would result in certain disorders in the body or diseases in the body. That's the certain example that I was trying to use that you can relate to, that of the cancer cells. That is when we refer to hypersecretion. But hypersecretion, the example that I just made, is that of cells. Right now, this secretion that I'm making is that of hormones, right? Hormones are not cells, but you understand what I'm trying to say. And then when there's an under secretion, there's also certain disorders. Remember what we mentioned, the body needs to maintain a certain balance. They need to maintain a certain balance. So when as soon as there's too much of anything is bad, and then what I want to explain how too much of anything is bad, as well as if you're not getting enough of something, that would also not be good. That also wouldn't be good for you, kinda. I hope you understood that. So that's the hormones we just covered here. Any questions? Let me check them. I see the one from Bob here. Example of, or when they work against each other can be the example
I don't understand.
of progesterone and estrogen. I can't really say they work against each other, but yeah, we can put it like that in a way. It's just that they work usually in different processes or different times. You'd find the estrogen mostly for the menstrual cycle, right? And then progesterone is the one that supports the pregnancy. So these are at different times. Yes. So yeah, I think we can say that actually, because as soon as as soon as the one is now coming into play, the other one is not so relevant anymore, because as soon as there's pregnancy in place, then there's no need for that estrogen to regulate the menstruation cycle anymore. And when there's no pregnancy, then you just need the You just need, when there's no pregnancy, it's the estrogen that functions mainly at that time. So yeah, that could be the right example. Yes, Bob. So the answer to Bob's question is yes. And then I see Vanika. Vanika, what do you mean by FSH and progesterone work against each other? Yes, thank you for explaining that. Now, this is exactly what we just said. Progesterone is mainly involved in the pregnancy part, the pregnancy process. So, as soon as progesterone comes into play, we don't need the FSH, the follicle stimulating hormone anymore, right? Because that one is involved in the process of the menstruation cycle. So yeah, you were both correct. Thank you very much, everyone. Now, can I move on from the hormones? Are you fine with the slide? I'm moving on to the next one. Ne? This is just a representation of the hormones secreted by endocrine glands travel in the blood to their target groups. So here, the first one, we have the hormones are secreted by the endocrine gland into the blood. So this is the cell of the gland. You see the cell here? There's the blood capillary. The hormones are the ones, the small ones in black. Then you've got the red blood cell. They're indicating to you that that's the blood there. So here, from this line here, that is the blood stream there inside. From inside this red line I'm drawing, that's where the blood is flowing. And then the hormones are secreted from the endocrine glands. Ne? This one, they are releasing these hormones from the glands and into the blood. The hormones in the blood now, in the second one, the hormones are then now released into the blood. You can clearly see the hormones in the blood. And then they are transported in the blood around the body. Then the point 3 here is then they will reach the target audience. So these hormones were sent to the lung. They have now reached the target audience, the target organ. Transporting through blood is as another way, it's effective. I mean, because the blood, you'd imagine, travels around the whole body. So you can, it's the best way actually to send transportation to, because you definitely know the hormone will reach that target organ. But it also means there are certain ways in which it communicates to make sure it goes to the specific organ it was sent to. So it doesn't just go to any, because it passes around many other organs, right? But the wonder and the beauty of this is that this particular hormone is sent to a particular organ, and that is exactly where it will go. It will not wander off and go to other organs it was not sent to. So this communication here, or the messenger happening here, is very good. And then now, this one, the one I'll present now, is comparison of the endocrine system and the nervous system. As you can see, they work almost similarly to each other. And you know a lot about the nervous system now, ne? So let's compare. Nervous system, it consists of what? Of neurons. But the endocrine consists of glands. Information in the nervous system, information is transmitted in the form of nerve impulses. Endocrine, information is transmitted in the form of chemical messengers called hormones. Oh, I moved too quickly from there. Sorry. In the nervous system again, the nerve impulses travel along nerve fibers. But in the endocrine system, the hormones travel in the blood. Nervous system information travels very quickly because it's the nervous system. You know, we mentioned, I'm sure the teacher and you know, it moves at a very high speed because you literally need the nervous system to be constantly alert. Whereas the endocrine system travels slowly. I mean, it's moving through the blood. Whereas the nervous system, it's more like electricity. Yeah, nervous system would compare to like the movement of electricity, and the endocrine system will compare to what, the flow of water, if I can say that. Yeah, compare the speeds of the two. The nervous system is very quick compared to that of the endocrine system. And nervous system affects the action of effectors that are muscles or glands. But the endocrine system affects the action of target organs. Nervous system effect of a nerve impulse does not last very long, but the effect of a hormone can last for a long time because this hormone is sent to perform a particular function. So as soon as it gets there, it gets to work. And remember, there's a lot of the body needs to constantly maintain a point of balance. So if, let's say, the hormone goes there and it results in an over secretion, then the body will have to maintain balance back to normal. Or if there's an under secretion, the body will have to balance the body again back to normal. So that process there is a lot, it's longer than the one that happens with the nerve impulses. It has to do with the speed once again, right? So this is where you know these two now, you understand fully. I think now you understand exactly endocrine, exocrine, the endocrine glands, exocrine glands, and nervous system, which you did. Now, these glands that we speak of, these are the endocrine glands. We are looking at the location of each of the main endocrine glands. They are shown here. This is extracted from the Solutions for All textbook. But you'll literally find it in any textbook. This diagram is pretty much everywhere. That means you should actually be able to label a diagram like this. That's why I'm showing it to you. You have the first one at the top there. That's the hypothalamus. Then you have the pituitary gland. You have the thyroid gland. You have the adrenal gland there on your kidneys. You have the pancreas. You have the ovary. And then you have the testes. So based on the things we discussed, you can clearly see which ones are involved in the reproduction, which ones are involved in the metabolism, in the growth and development. You can see that, ne? But as of tomorrow, we will get on to discussing each of the glands separately so that we understand them. But we just mentioned the main endocrine glands involve the hypothalamus, pituitary, thyroid, pancreas, adrenal glands, and the gonads. So the reproductive glands here, which ones? We've just discussed them. I need to see your alert and your awake. Name the gonads that we speak of here. Which are the gonads? That will be your last question for today. What are the gonads that I speak of here? Yes, okay. Yes, thank you very much. You are alert. So that's what we speak of when we speak of the gonads. So whenever you say the gonads, you've included both the testes and the ovaries, because then they deal with the reproduction, and reproduction system is present in both the male and the female organism. So these are the ones. You should also be able to list these ones, like I've mentioned. You should be able to list them and you should be able to label them. So these are the typical questions you'll find in your exams. They could ask you to label So they'll give you a diagram and you need to label, or they'd ask you probably they'd list this as C. And they'd say, give us the functions of C without even asking you what is C. So you need to exactly understand this, picture it, visualize it, so that you know when you get questions like this, you can be able to answer them. But more than just preparing for the exams, it will help you to understand your body better, right? It will help you to understand all these functions better. And fortunately for you, when you understand how these work, you'll be able to maintain a healthy lifestyle for as long as you can control it. For the ones like how you maintain your diet, that's up to your control. So that will be possible because you would have understood this. How you take care of yourself and the reproduction system, then you would understand that as well. So as long as you understand these things and understand the types of food you eat, understand why you should be exercising, all those things. Yeah. Okay. It's okay, Kyle. I understand. Don't worry about it. Okay, guys, we are on the last 3 minutes, I think now. So, any questions about today's lesson? I think we'll do the rest tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow we'll start from this slide. Do you have any questions? Uh, I think I've shown you also in the beginning, there's my email address. This is if you have any questions related to life sciences, you are most welcome to send me an email and I will respond, even if it's about today's lesson. I will respond to you. Remember, on Friday we are doing Kahoot, so it will be based on this week's lesson. So if there are no questions, no questions, no questions. Oh, you are not do it every day. Is that how you did it? You did it every day with Lizal, teacher Lizal. I can try. Okay, I will try then. Ne? So tomorrow's Kahoot will be based on today's lesson, if that's okay with you. Then after that Kahoot, we will continue with tomorrow's lesson. Then we'll do that every day. I think, yeah, that will work. Tomorrow, first thing is Kahoot based on today's lesson. So I hope you are paying attention. If not, you are welcome to go through to the textbooks that I told you about and you learn the work, because tomorrow it's the test for you first thing tomorrow. All right, thank you for your suggestion, guys. Bob, it's Bob. Did that answer your question? I think that answered your question, right? So Kahoot first thing tomorrow based on today's lesson. Then we continue from tomorrow's lesson. So it won't take long. All right, guys, thank you so much. If there are no more questions, that will be it from me today. You are welcome once again. Let me go back to the first slide so you can see my email address for those who might have any questions. Yeah, this is my email address for those who might have questions regarding life sciences. Thank you so much, guys, for welcoming me. I hope we can grow together